Wanted to be 1-0 after the first weekend. Answering your questions, talking about the following week, and that's where we are. Really proud of our football team, the way we finish. It's always about that. You go through training camp, you work hard, everybody, you have an idea of how you would like your team to look first time out, but you want to go through adversity, put guys in tough situations and see how they respond. Well, we did all that. There's a point in the fourth quarter. Ball State had momentum, made a big run. Wasn't really looking good for our team at the time, but character kind of showed. Guys stepped up all three phases. We need to make plays in all three phases, and we did. So proud of them. A lot easier coaching, and of course, with the win. With that being said, a lot of things for us to improve, and we've started that process. A lot of young players got their first college experience playing a football game, and saw improvement from start to finish with them. So, again, excited about about getting the win. Now it's on to a good football team, another good football team. 10, 11 wins last year. Outstanding year by them. Some of the personnel coming back. When you look and you see returning quarterback, you know that there are some issues that you're going to have. They, of course, won a big game against their rival, Eastern Kentucky, last week. Injury-wise, we have a few, from the game. Can't talk in detail an awful lot about them right now. Feel like, in the end, we should be okay. Don't know about players that didn't play, Jalen Dunlap and guys like that. We'll kind of see how they progress this week. Take your question.
Coach, I guess, will Allegretti be at center this year, this week? Is that your plan at this point, do you think?
You can probably see how I'm going to answer this question. I don't think it'll do us much good to talk about who will be there, but we have a plan that we feel good about. Nick finished up the game last week. He can play inside. We'll see how Doug Kramer comes back from his injury, but we have options. And that's what you want. We have about 3 guys that can snap the ball, which is a good thing. Offensive line didn't play as well as we need to this week. But we feel like with the 5 that we're going with this week, we think we can take some steps with the O-line.
That group was in flux from the start of that game, and then Doug's injury. How much do you think that impacted them, or was that a big factor?
Well, it impacted, but at the same time, we would say that we still need to play better, especially for a guy like Nick. I mean, it's tough to play guard and you can snap as opposed to being the snapper. We had a couple of those snaps that were off. But, again, when you have a week to prepare, if that's the case, you should see better production from it.
Coach, I just read a pretty interesting stat. You guys started 3 true freshmen. In the last 42 years, the school has started a total of 12. So obviously a young team. How important to have them on the field so early, but also look at the tape with a win?
Well, we knew going in, we had a lot of, going through training camp, we were playing a lot of freshmen. We knew a lot of freshmen would have a chance to get early time. It was 3. I was thinking a lot more. I guess it was the amount that played, maybe even more this week. But when you're a young ball club, you want them to get as much experience and let them have an opportunity to play. That's where we were. At the end of the game, those young freshmen were stepping up, contributing. And again, some got time. Probably even more get time this coming week.
What did you see from the freshman corners, Nate Hobbs and Tony Adams?
Well, Tony Adams, of course, has practiced, more than Nate has, even though he's coming off a major injury. It's tough duty playing corner in general, and to be a true freshman and they're throwing at you quite a bit. We think they handled it well for the first time out. Nate Hobbs got in, he had a week of practice. So week of practice and you're playing in a major college football game, but he held up, and he has talent. They both do, and they'll only get better. But, first time out, pretty good for freshmen.
What did you see from Mikey Dudek in the punt return game?
Well, just punt return game, of course, excitement, big playability, which he has. When you hadn't played that long and He wanted to return punts. He wanted to get his hands on the ball as much as possible. And in games like that, as I watch college football, you know, a lot of the games come down to your playmakers in critical situations stepping up and making plays. Mike did it early. Punt, of course, getting the touchdown was a big thing for him, but that punt return, we needed it. We needed a big play. And I think our fans got a chance to see what he can bring. You know, we've forgotten a little bit, but I think we got a chance to see what he can bring to the table, which is quite a bit of excitement. Talking about a big guy stepping up, Malik Turner also. Malik has fought injuries throughout training camp, really stepped up when we need him to make some plays too.
Coach, just based off of the other Mike, what you kind of see from Epstein as far as his confidence and kind of getting stronger as the game went on?
He's been that way since he's gotten on campus. I'm talking about it showing us that he deserved early time and stepped up to the plate. You know, as a freshman, definitely he didn't play like a freshman. He wanted the ball, whether he was throwing it to him out of the backfield, returning the kicks, and then just production at the running back position. Couldn't have had a better opening day, you know. But that's how he's been, and we'll even expect more from him. We still need to get more production on the offensive side of the ball, need to be able to run the ball better. But Mike, you know, when there weren't some holes, he made some things happen, which is good.
Mike Epstein, when he committed before you got there, is that right?
Yeah.
So how'd that all work out? How'd you end up, you know, communicating with him so he'd come and stuff?
I don't know. Soon after I got on campus, Mike and his family came up, said, "Hey, we're locked in. We love the University of Illinois. Count on us to be here." Man of his word, has done everything he's promised he would do. And again, every step along the way, making the necessary improvement that a freshman needs to make. He deserved to play well, and he carried that over to the field. So one of our guys, loved having him on the team.
He was committed, but he didn't play his junior year. So did you have to see him a little bit too?
Well, I watched all of our guys when we came in, especially the commitments that we had. I watched him, loved him, excellent speed. When you meet him, you like him even more. You see, talk to his family, you know what he's come from and how he's been raised. Exactly what we wanted in our program. Him saying that he was with us, guys like that, when they give you a word, they're going to stay with it too. But yes, we looked at him and, of course, loved him when we saw him.
Coach, back to Dudek. As you analyzed how Ball State defended against him, does this give an indication of how other teams will do that, and how does that affect you in trying to get the ball to him when you know in some cases you might be double teamed?
You know, when people talk about double team, it's pretty hard to really double team you always. I mean, there are situations, eventually, most of the time it comes down to a one-on-one situation. You can get a little bit of over the top help, but it's hard to just isolate on one guy. Mike's going to get one-on-one situations, and he's going to win most of those. Whether having him in the slot, it's a little bit harder there too. So we feel like we can get him the football when we need to, and it's our job to try to get him the ball more and more. There's a lot of guys on offense that, you know, deserve some time, you know, with their hands on the ball, but and we'll just have to be smart with how we try to utilize them.
Coach, a lot of movement on the line. You had some injuries, new guys there, new playmakers. For Crouch, your assessment now watching the tape of him and how he sort of how he dealt with the situation, sort of late in the game as well.
Well, you know, Chase be the first guy, like all of us. I mean, we're going to play better this coming week than we played the last week. There were critical plays at the end where we need to come through, need to make some throws, fight back, you know, from adversity. We were able to do all of that. You know, we know what we're getting, you know, each play with Chase. A guy that can throw the ball, if he needs to run, get production that way. A couple key first downs he was able to get using his feet. But like I said, for our team, we need to make some plays at the end. We did. And need to carry that over. You should normally see the most improvement, I think, on your team from week 1 to week 2. And hopefully that'll be the case with us this week.
What do you see from Western Kentucky? New coach. What do you see from them?
Well, you know, when you play your rival, it's always a big game, in-state and all that. So what we saw is they were better than Easton. They beat them. Saw a team with a lot of confidence. You should have that, you know, when you win your bowl game, and you win as many games as they won last year. So they're looking forward to this game as we are. I assume we're big underdogs or something like that. So when you're coming in playing a Big Ten football team and you're big favorites, you should have a pretty good feeling. We don't. We're playing Western Kentucky. Motivation. That's enough motivation for us to get better and win. Try to get to 2-0. I mean, that's, you know, it's about us making our improvements to reach our goals. So happen they're the next one on our schedule.
Describe their quarterback, Mike White, and what, you know, his skill set.
Mobile guy, but a drop back, a guy that can throw the football. You know, more of a pro-style quarterback. Offensively, they use a lot of different formations, shifts, have a good running attack, play a lot of receivers, more of a traditional style attack, I would say. And quarterback-wise, I mean, he can make all the throws in the pocket.
What did you maybe learn about your defense on Saturday that will be important when you're facing kind of a dynamic offense?
Well, the one stat that's pretty important is how we finish. We had a lot of favorable third down situations early in the game, and we didn't perform the way we need to. Last 6, I think we won when we had to get them stopped on third downs. We talk a lot about takeaways. Trey Watson, you know, the fumble recovery, set up a score. The interception put us in position to score. And then the fourth down play. So the things that we really stress, in the end, we're able to do some of that. And again, finish strong with the third downs and get the takeaways.
16 tackles, did that meet your expectations that you had for him when you transferred here this year?
That's good when you look at the tackles, and Delshawn will tell you there's a lot. You have some games. Those positions have an opportunity to make a lot of plays. We left some on the field still. But first time out, good showing by Delshawn.
Can you talk a little more about just his journey to get to this point and the maybe determination it showed in him?
Well, when you go the JC route, you know that there's a lot. There is a story there. You know it's a hard way. So guys like that, once you do get them, when you've had to scratch and fight for everything you've gotten, they can handle a little adversity. You know, as he got here, initially spring ball, hurt his ankle, missed most of spring ball, farther down on the depth chart, but just went to work each day, put himself in a position to start for us and make plays. Again, when you play the wheel linebacker position for us, that's a marquee position that has an opportunity. We talk about the amount of tackle. That position, week in and week out, needs to, you know, play well because you're going to get opportunity.
Coach, a lot of people probably don't know about Tymeer Oliver, but what'd you think of his performance?
I thought you're right, most people don't. Who is that? Tymeer Oliver. But be selected captains by his teammate based on what he's done on the field. He's been that way from the time he came back for the second semester of school. Steady play by him. He's going to show up with his lunch pail each day. Good start for him, and he'll even get better.
Performance, is it just stick to the plan and it's going to come, or do you need to figure out different ways to get him involved?
We're always trying to figure out ways to get everybody involved, but we play multiple running backs. Some days it's just not quite there the way you would like. Just keep grinding, which he'll do. Kendrick's a good football player, but in days when he's just not at the top of your game, you have to look to that, you know, option 2 and maybe option 3. We do, you know, we play running back by committee a little bit around here. And option 2, of course, was pretty good with Mike Epstein Saturday.